Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sydney. If you are new here, I am a Poshmark seller. I was also a Poshmark closet consultant last year in Dallas. I've been selling on Poshmark for 5 years now. Today I want to talk about something that comes up pretty frequently with people messaging me and in my Posh Boss group on Facebook. And that is about hiring a VA or a virtual assistant to help you with your reselling business. This comes up a lot. I get a lot of questions from people asking me about this, asking how to hire people and things like that. So I just want to kind of go over sort of my personal opinion on hiring a VA and, you know, precautions that you should take, because there is risk involved with hiring a VA. So I want to talk about that today. Before I do that, several of you messaged me about getting mystery boxes. I had a few people ask me if they could order on this Friday because they get paid on Friday and things like that. So I did extend the deadline to order. I will be closing it tomorrow night at midnight. Excuse me, tomorrow night at midnight, Friday, July the 12th. Today is the 11th. So tomorrow night at midnight Eastern, I will be turning off the links to order mystery boxes. I have 5 pieces available and 10 pieces available down below. So you can check that out. The reason is I'm going out of town next week. So my goal is to have all the mystery boxes shipped out by next week. I'm still shipping out a few today and tomorrow, and then I'll be working on the rest of the orders until I leave next Friday. So if you would like to order a mystery box, please do so ASAP. You can order down in the description box and they will be shipped out by next Friday. So let's talk about hiring a virtual assistant. I have mixed opinions on hiring a virtual assistant. Okay, so my first thing that I want to talk about is giving someone access to your accounts, whether it's Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Etsy, no matter what you sell on. I do not recommend giving a stranger access to your account. It's just not a good idea, in my opinion. To me, it is not worth the risk of giving someone access to your account. So I do not recommend doing that at all. Now, the flip side of that is if you have somebody that you know, a friend, a family member, somebody that you trust, that you could give access to your accounts to, somebody who is not a stranger. A lot of people hire VAs from overseas. I'm aware of that. I don't recommend giving strangers access to your account. It's just not worth it to me. Now, I know people do it, so, you know, if you do that, that is completely up to your discretion. That's you taking your own risk. I personally will not give anybody access to my accounts. So if you have somebody that you trust, that you can give access to your accounts, like, that's a completely different story. If you feel that you are at a point in your business where you would like to hire someone, if you want to hire somebody to cross post for you, I definitely recommend paying them per listing that they do. The reason being is that it's really hard to supervise how many hours somebody is working on something consistently, especially if they are working out of their house. If you are not supervising them, you know, you don't really know what they're doing, so you don't want to be paying them for hours if they're actually not working. I used to work for a nonprofit, and I would do their social media, and they limited my hours and they paid me by the hour, and it was a very difficult thing. And it got to the point to where I downloaded an app on my phone, and I would clock in and clock out every single time I was doing something that related to work, because it wasn't consistently all day. It was like random times throughout the day dealing with social media, because social media is pretty much a 24/7 job. So I recommend paying per listing, just because that is a more concrete way of paying someone. It's completely up to you how much you pay them per listing. It's It's completely up to you, you know, how much they are involved with listing, if they are actually, you know, taking pictures for you and measuring and things like that, and there's more work involved. Obviously, you're going to pay them more than if they're just cross-posting from one platform to another. So that is completely up to you. But I do recommend, just if you are going to give somebody access to your accounts, you need to find somebody that you know and that you trust. Ideally, you would want to be able to supervise them in some way, even if they're working from their house and things like that. You know, you can still check in on them, you can call them, you know, monitor their progress. Another thing that I recommend doing is, if you have somebody doing drafts for you, don't have them actually list the item. Have a time during the day where you actually go in and check the drafts and you list the item yourself, because there's a lot of room for error in listing things. And, you know, some people just don't get it. They just don't understand listing and things like that. No matter how long they do it, people just don't get it. So I highly recommend that you take some time during the day and then you go through their drafts and then you list it for them. Now we're going to talk about, should you hire a virtual assistant? How do you know at what point do you need to hire a virtual assistant? Is it worth it? To me, if you're hiring a virtual assistant, you know, if you need somebody to list for you, that's one thing, but you need to ask yourself, what is keeping you from listing the items yourself? I know some people hire a photographer, some people hire people to, you know, photograph and measure for them, and they list the item, and that's completely different. But if you're just hiring a VA to cross post for you or to share your listings, like, what is keeping you from doing that yourself? I get a lot of people saying, you know, oh, I have kids. I personally do not have kids, but I have other things that, you know, keep me from getting everything done throughout the day. Everybody has something. I will say that. Everybody has something. Not everybody has kids, but everybody has something in their life that is going to interrupt them during the day, especially if they work from home. So you have to really ask yourself, you know, what is keeping me from doing this? And, you know, this is a lot of why I developed my share group, was to help people kind of get into a routine for themselves. Because yes, you can hire somebody to share your listings, but that is honestly not the most effective way to increase your sales on Poshmark, in my opinion. I know a lot of people use bots. I'm not going to get into bots. We're not going to go there. That's a completely different soapbox video. But, you know, I created my share group to get people to have a sense of routine and consistency in their Poshmark business. Everyone in there is so supportive of one another, and, you know, because I would get people who would say they would share during parties and nobody was sharing back. So, you know, with my share group, people do share back and they return shares, and everybody promotes one another, and it's very, very consistent. It's very, these people are very dedicated to their businesses and supporting one another and helping one another. And you have to sit down and you have to establish a routine for yourself. Hiring a VA is not the answer to your end-all questions for, you know, oh, I'm gonna hire a VA and I'm gonna make all this money. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. So especially if you hire a VA and they are sharing your listings from their closet, that is not self-sharing your listings. You know, you really need to be sitting down and self-sharing your listings and sharing other people's listings to promote your listings. When you self-share, that puts your listings up in the search results, not just in the newsfeed, but in the search results. So people who are searching for things, that moves your listing at the top of when people are searching. So you know, nobody else can do that but you, unless you give somebody access to your accounts, which is not the ideal thing to do. And, you know, you really need to sit down and establish a routine for yourself. So that's why I created the share group. If you're interested in joining the share group, I'll put that down below. Right now I am offering a one-on-one closet consultation with the share group if you join, and it also comes with my sourcing guide. So I'll put all of that information down in the description box for you. But, you know, if you are thinking about hiring a VA, I hope you'll consider the share group instead, because I feel like having multiple people share your listings is much better than just hiring one VA to share your listings. And then the share group is an investment, but it's one time, and then, you know, you have the ability to share other people's listings, and then you're getting promotion as well, rather than you having to consistently pay somebody to share your listings. And I'm not really 100% sure of the results that you're gonna get from hiring a VA. I have never heard of, you know, spectacular success from somebody hiring a VA. I've never heard anybody rave about their VA. So that's why I created the share group. I would love to have you. You can join down below. I'll put all that information in the description box. But I really hope that you will think about why you are hiring a VA or considering hiring a VA. I don't think that in many cases it's the right solution for people. I don't think a lot of people are to the point where they need to be hiring employees, and, you know, because that's going to cut into your profits. And I just don't feel like a lot of people are at that point where they want to consistently sacrifice their profits for a VA, where I feel like you're not going to see very much return on it. And this is why, you know, when people ask me if they need to hire a VA, I really sit down and talk with them in their closet consultation about, you know, why are you doing this? Why do you think you need a VA? And really help them to establish a routine in their Poshmark business. Because I feel like if you can find time during the day to have a routine, you're gonna see so much return and so many more sales from having that routine for yourself, rather than expecting another person to do it for you. Because nobody is ever going to care about your business as much as you do. And I know people who have had employees, it has not turned out well for them. I know people who have employees and they love it. So, but, you know, they have employees who are photographing and measuring and all of that, not just, you know, a stranger overseas who's sharing their closet for them. But I do hope you'll consider the share group as an alternative to a VA. I think you will be happier with that. If you do have a VA and you know, have experience, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Definitely leave me a comment. Tell me about your VA. Tell me why you hired a VA. I'd love to hear from you. So that is my view on hiring a VA for your Poshmark business. I hope you will really think things through before you start, you know, putting your profits towards something that might not be the best investment for you. I hope that makes sense. So if you have any questions, leave them for me down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.